All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going over this St. Louis Blues website that I started to create, and we have 3 pages. We've got our home page, which is right here. We've got our about page, which is right here, and we've got our contact page, which is right here. But we want it to change so that the home page looks like this, the about page like this, and the contact page like this. So in order to do that, we're going to have to add our cascading style sheets. So what I have done is I have my index page done, I've got my about page done, I've got my contact page done, but my style page, which is going to have my CSS in it, right now has nothing. So I'm going to build it from step 1, right from the start. So I'm going to say my body. Let's give it a font. And we'll say font size, I don't know, let's make it about 15 pixels. We'll have the font family. I like Arial, and if there's not Arial, let's just make it a sans serif. Let's give it a, what is it, a line height? Is that what it is? Of 1.5, no margin, at least to start, and let's give it a background color. Remember, we can say either background or background dash color, which is a little more typing, but it's more descriptive. All right, so that's what we've got so far, and let's see what it changed, if anything. So we'll go to our home page and we'll refresh. Doesn't look, the changes are a little subtle. We did change the font type, and we've got this grayish background as opposed to a white background that we had before. All right. So I'm going to put a little code in, and I'm going to go back and take a look at it and see what it does to the document. So let's put in some global stuff. In other words, that'll be document Y. Technically, you could say that the body was global too, but remember, we've got almost everything is in a class called container. So let's make the width on that about 80% so it doesn't stretch the entire screen length. Margin auto, so we're going to try to center it. And overflow hidden. So if anything is too wide for the area that it's in, we don't want scroll bars added, okay? So what did that do? Not too much. Okay, we still got what we've got. All right. You'll have to take my word for it that it'll change as we keep going through here. So our unordered list. We want that to have no margin and no padding. Now, some people ask, should I put 0px there? You can, but 0 is 0, so you don't have to. All right, we've got our buttons, or we've got a class called button. Remember, if I want to show it's a class, I've got to do that. So that's our container, that's our UL, whoops, and let's come down to here to our button, and we'll put a few things. Let's give it a height, and I did do some playing around with this before so it would look nicer. The height will be 38 pixels. The background color will be hashtag 00F29C 9C. No border. We'll have some left padding. And some right padding. Now, a couple things. First of all, where I put all this stuff in at the beginning, all that, I could have taken all of that, commented it out, all right, and put this in as one line by just saying font, colon, 15 pixels, slash 1.5, space, Arial, comma, I didn't want Helvetica, so I just left that out, sans serif. So this one line would do the same thing as these three lines. The reason I'm showing you that is with what we've got here with our padding, padding is like a clock. All right, so if you look at a clock, and if I, I'm not going to put a circle on the screen, but 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So when you do padding or margin, either one, it's top, right, bottom, left. So I could have, instead of saying padding left and padding right, which is fine to do, I could have done it a couple of other ways. I could have said, for example, padding, nothing on top. Typically you do put the pixels in. 20 on the right, nothing on the bottom, and 20 on the left. So I could have done that. So that would have been replacing that with one line. Or I could have even said padding. If I just have two numbers, that's the number for top and bottom, and that's the number for left and right. I think as you're starting to learn this stuff, this is me speaking, you may or may not agree. I think that when you're first learning, you're best off, if nothing else, to overcompensate and put too much in. So I'm going to leave it like this. All right. So again, I could have also done it like that, or I could have done it like that as well. Okay. And so that's our padding. And let's give it a color. Pound FDB 930. All right, what did that change? Well, look at our buttons here and let's refresh. And nothing changed, which I'm amazed at. Let me double check and make sure I set my classes correctly. So that's on my contact page. I didn't say here class equal button. Let me come back and add that. All right, did I have buttons on the about? No, that was just that text. Did I have buttons on here? Image, my videos. I don't believe so. But let's see if that changed anything. Look at my buttons. All right, you can see how they changed. Now, what may confuse you, all right, what may confuse you is as we take a look at this here. In fact, there was a button. There's a button on the home page that's there. See that? Okay. Is you might say, okay, Jeff, I get what you did. How did you come up with that color, and how did you come up with that color, etc.? And I won't lie to you. What I did was I typed in something like, hopefully I can find it, NHL team colors, was something like that. And it led me to a site somewhere. I don't remember where it was. Is it here, the paper framer? I don't remember. And it actually was not here. All right, so if I come down here and I look for Saint, doesn't look like it has it. All leagues, NHL. There it is. Now these aren't the exact same colors that I used because the site I had a little bit different color. But that's where you would get it from. Okay, just so you're aware of that. All right, so what you saw in there was the first time we changed something where there actually was an effect. All right, it changed our button here. Nothing on that page, and I changed our buttons here. Now I could come in and use a border radius to round those buttons. I'm not that concerned with that stuff. So I just left it like that. All right? So that was our global stuff. So all containers will look like that. All ULs will look like that, and all buttons will look like that. Well, let's start breaking it down even a little bit more now. So let's look at our header. All right, and for our regular header, we're going to have a background color. And we want that background color to be that FDB thing, the color that we're using here for our text. We want that to be our background color. All right. Again, why am I doing this? I want to run this because I want you to see the dramatic effect that this has on the site. There, see that? And now we've got that on. Come on, change pages, please. Contact, about, and home. So we've got all that out there. Good. All right, that's what we wanted. Okay, so that's going to be our background color. The actual color of the links, which is what's in there, I made that white. Now you can say pound FFF, FFF, which is fine, or you can say color white. That will work also. The one thing about this is what's known as a triplet. These are all the same. When those two are the same, and those two are the same, and those two are the same, all you have to actually key in is color pound sign FFF. That's the one I'm going to use. But all three of these mean the same thing. And I'm just going to use the last one. All right, did that change anything? Well, you can always go back and look. Okay, there's my links. Nope, not yet. Let's just keep watching. All right, because that's not actually the links, that's any text that I'm going to have in there is going to be white. All right, let's put some padding on the top. About 20 pixels. Let's give it a minimum height. And that's going to become more important later when we talk about making this responsive of 70 pixels. And we'll put a border on the bottom. And that will be a dark blue. It'll be three pixels wide, and it'll be solid. All right. So again, let's take a look. Watch on the bottom here. Hopefully you can see that solid border. And we push this down a little bit also. Don't worry about this. We're going to fix that in just a second. All right. Place for everything in its place. Now let's look at the links. So header A. So that's all the links, the hyperlinks we have in there. We'll have the color on those be pound sign 0052 9C. When you use these letters, you can use uppercase or lower. It doesn't matter. All right. Text decoration, none. Text transform. Uppercase. Font size, let's make it nice and big. 32 pixels. All right, I'm not done yet, but let's look at what we've done. We're talking about the hyperlinks there. You can see how they've changed. They look much more like they do in the final site. The only thing we have to do is we have to move them over. All right, so that's what we do next. Okay, so there's our links. So our links are set up right now. Okay, but our links contain those LIs. So now we want to go in and do the header LI. And again, we want to float them to the left. And we want to display them inline, which will say to put them onto, that will say to put them on a single line. Let's display inline. And let's give them some padding. And we'll give them 20 pixels top, 20 pixels right, nothing on the bottom. For now, that'll be fine. And 20 pixels on the left. All right. So there it is. Boom. We've moved that. All right. Just about there. Not sure why that isn't moving over yet, but we're going to get it to work. All right. I want to put that over to here. Did I put in my float left? Yes, I did. Okay. All right. Remember then, so we're doing our header, and inside of header we've got a container, and inside of there we've got some branding. All right. And that's for that image that we have in there. So let's put in that. I've got my cheat sheet here that I'm using, and I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. So let me go back and review it. I won't be doing this regularly, but that should have said 80%, not 80. Looks good. Looks good. Okay, I think everything else is okay now. So let's do our header branding. And we want everything that's in there to float to the left. And how about our header branding H1 tag? We want that to have no margin. All right, I don't think you're going to see a dramatic effect here, but let's look. Oh, we did. It's starting to look a little bit more. This is starting to look a bit more like this. So that's what we want to get to, and that's where we are. Okay? Not bad. It's a start. All right. After our heading branding H1, not sure why I did it this way, but I've got a header H1, margin top minus 40 pixels. Now you are going to see some effect on this if we look. All right. Let's do our nav. Wondering why I couldn't have moved that in here, but I must, maybe was a reason I did it. I don't remember. All right, so let's do our header nav. First thing we want to do is we want that to float to the right. And we'll give it a margin top of 10 pixels. Okay? Again, you'll see an effect here. Watch how these move over. And, okay? So that's looking pretty good. Now, when I'm looking here, We need a little margin down there, which we don't have, but I think we're going to get that in just a minute. Okay? All right. So we're going to have header, and we're going to have a dot highlight in case we want to use that. But we already have a header that has a class of current. So for current on a link, what we're saying here is we want two things. We want the color to have this color here. So we want it to have that color, and we want it to have a font weight of bold. All right. The current one should now be bolded. Should have that same dark color, but it should be bolded, and I didn't see it as being bolded. I wonder if it's backwards. Let's try that. Nope, I'm not getting that. Let's I'm just gonna move on, and hopefully that'll come back in just a bit. Well, we'll see. Header hover. So when I hover over a link, I want the color on it to be white, and I want it to be bold. None of that is taking effect, so why is that? I'm saving. I start looking for coloring in here that's something that should be colored that is black because I forgot a semicolon or whatever. This all looks okay. Huh. I'm going to try changing that to just this, just to see if that does anything. But it's not giving me my coloring. See, what's supposed to happen is it's supposed to, notice how I'm getting the coloring, and I'm not on mine. So I'll have to check on that. It's possible that I'm just missing something, but I don't see anything that I'm missing. Here's my header. Class is active. Oops. Oh, I'm getting pretty far high up there on time, so. Header nav. Still not working. I'm going to stop right now, see if I can fix that, come back with the next portion of this in just a moment.